Hello and welcome to the Average FPLers podcast. My name's Russell, and as always, I'm joined by Mike. How are we doing?
Ahoy, ahoy.
Ahoy. So the new season is upon us in a couple of days. So we are back with the podcast to discuss everything FPL related. So without further ado, let's have a look at the topics that we're going to discuss. So looking at game week 1, our team reveal and our captaincy choices. We're going to talk about the new rules and the mystery chip that are coming into play this season. Have a quick look at some pre-season stats, and then give you our FPL4 player picks for game week 1. So first up, I think I put you up first, Mike, for your team.
That's marvellous of you, isn't it?
It is.
Oh, right.
I've
I'll go through my
I've
team.
not really looked at this yet either, so I have no idea what your
Okay.
team's going to
Well,
be.
I'll go through my team. I'll preface this by saying I did a draft fairly quickly. So I got in on the first day it went live, did a auto draft, and then about 2 weeks after that, I did a draft. So this is mostly it with the exception of 2 players, and I'll go over them. So in goal, I've got Areola, Alexander-Arnold, Robertson, Trippier, Mo Salah, Saka, Smith Rowe, Gordon, and Mbuma. And then up front, I've got Isak, who's currently captain, and Solanke. And then my bench is Flecken, Adogi, Okoli, and Jefferson. Now, since I did the draft about 2 weeks after FPL went live, the only changes I've made is I brought Smith Rowe in, who I was certain I was having no matter what. And I bought Solanke in for João Pedro, which has left me no money in the bank currently. The only 2 changes I've made. Everything else has been this all the way through. So there are some concerns about Robertson because he missed quite a lot of preseason, and he played in the second game. Liverpool had 2 games on the same day on their final day of preseason, which was last Saturday or Sunday. Alexander-Arnold, Salah played in the first game against Sevilla, and they won 4-0. Robertson played in the second game with Harvey Elliott, and they're the 2 there are doubts around now. Kieran Trippier played in a similar role. Newcastle had 2 games, I think one day and one the day after. Trippier played in the second game, but quite a few of the Newcastle first teamers played in the second game, and I think that's due to they all came back late from preseason or for preseason. Sorry, he played 90 in that, so I don't know if Trippier will start.
Trippier would be
Newcastle's
one
first team.
that come back late, I assume, because of England.
Yes, he was.
Getting to the final.
Yeah, so in the second game for Newcastle in the last weekend of preseason, most of the defenders were late returners. So, but obviously there's been a lot of rumours swirling around Trippier that he's meant to be going to Saudi Arabia or Man United were the most recent rumours. I don't think that's going to happen now because United have bought Mazraoui yesterday. So I don't know. Trippier may have to be taken out because it could be Livramento and Lewis Hall start at right and left back.
Yeah.
And then in my midfield, I don't think I'm changing my midfield. I think I'm happy enough with that, to be honest. The only thing that would convince me.
Saka's obviously come back late as well, so I don't know how much preseason.
I can't see him not starting.
Oh, he's going to start, yeah.
The only reason I'd swap Saka is if I need money, and then I'd go to Odegaard. So
yeah.
Yeah, and then Gordon has played the last 2 preseason games, but I'm not worried about him. He looks sharp. Plus, he didn't play a lot over the summer either in the internationals. He was mostly a bit part man. Smith Rowe played Fulham's final 2 preseason games, and he scored in both. Mbumo's had a full preseason. Thiago's out now for Brentford until the end of the year. Tony may stay at Brentford because their asking price is a bit stupid. Plus, obviously, they need someone to cover that gap with Thiago out. Which either way, it still I think it makes Mbeumo a good option. It means he doesn't take penalties, but he's still a good option at that price. And Brentford's fixtures are not that bad. Salah's playing Ipswich. He's got a host of other good opening fixtures. And then Isak was the only striker I really knew I wanted because I knew he had a full pre-season, and Callum Wilson is injured as usual. And then obviously when Spurs confirmed Solanke on Saturday last week, I already knew I was already wavering on him in the first place because I wanted him even if he was at Bournemouth, but he missed 1 or 2 preseason games because he was injured with an ankle injury, but he wasn't. It turns out he was probably being held off because Tottenham were trying to buy him. So, and Postecoglou's made it quite clear he's ready to go. And if you go on the basis of last season, we signed Mickey van der Ven like 2-3 days before the season started, and we chucked that bitch right in there, and he flourished. So I can see us starting Solanke. I mean, Solanke's out about 8 days. So, I mean, we don't play till Monday, so it might even be longer than 8 days. It'd be like 9 or 10 days.
Yeah.
The only concern I have in this team is I have no Man City, and they play Ipswich, I think, at home game week 2.
Yeah,
No Haaland.
That's obviously the big thing, I guess. Salah, Haaland is. I think I've not even attempted to get both of them in. Interestingly, I've gone Haaland over Salah. So if our teams stay the same or we stay on that path, we're going to be either side of that coin. So that'd be interesting.
We're going to be either side. I mean, it could be. I don't know where I'll end up yet because I may try and find room for Haaland because I've got what could be described as quite an expensive defence.
And Haaland's in good form in pre-season. Five goals, I think.
He did all right. He wasn't great against Manchester United in the I wanted to say Charity Shield, but I don't think that's the name for it anymore. Community Shield.
Community Shield, yeah.
He wasn't very good in that, but then Man City wasn't a couple seasons back, and then they absolutely rioted in the first early weeks.
I was thinking, yeah. I remember Haaland when it was Man City,
was his
Liverpool
first season. Yeah,
and Darwin shone over Haaland, and then it ended up Haaland absolutely smashed it, and people hadn't.
And then
put
I
him
didn't
in
go and get
based
Haaland.
on that. So
nope. I didn't put him in, and then I still didn't put him in after like the first 2 or 3, and then he went and got back-to-back hat tricks, and I still hadn't got him in. And by then, it was almost too late. He'd gone up by like 1 million, 1.5 million, and everything was just falling apart on me. So, yeah. So I think I can eat money out because Robertson's like 6, Trippier's 6, Adogie's 5. So there's money to be eked out.
Yeah.
But then I'd have to pick one of those 2 strikers to upgrade to Haaland because I think Isak's 8 and Solanke's 7.5. And again, if I had to do Saka down to Odegaard or something of that ilk, I could be tempted into it. And then obviously I could do Flecken to Fabianski. Fabianski's only 4 million, so that would be an 8.5 million goalkeeper setup. But it would mean I am committing to the West Ham defence until I wild card. So, which I'm not against. I was already quite okay with doing that.
Yeah, West Ham have done pretty good business in the transfer window, so I think
I had
they could be good.
Yeah, I had Areola as my starting keeper even before they bought Todibo and Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah.
Now with them in as well, I think it makes that defense even better. I mean, they're going to be a bit iffy at left back because there's question marks around Emerson. But when you got Todibo and Kilman as your centre back partnership, and then you it'll be Wan-Bissaka and Sufal fighting for that right back. I think West Ham should get a fair amount of clean sheets, and I think they might surprise people
Mm.
because I was this confident, if you remember, with Wolves last season until Lopetegui got let go because he was disagreeing.
Yeah.
Didn't go for any Wolves, and then they started quite good under Gary O'Neill against Man United and onwards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, I'm quite happy with some things. I need to change other things. I could have been tempted for Oscar Bob in my starting 11, but it would have been a problem after game week 2. Allegedly, Jack Grealish is injured as well. So there's part of me that possibly could be tempted to try McAtee in my starting lineup in midfield to save money. The problem with that is, is, is Pep Guardiola's been talking him up. I'll do it, and then that's it. Pep won't start him, and I'll just be looking like the idiot who went, "Yeah,
It's the
I'm
danger.
going to have McAtee."
Same danger with Bob, even though Bob's done well pre-season.
I
Would he play?
Oscar
But
Bob, he was great in the Community Shield.
yeah,
He set up Bernardo Silva's goal as well.
yeah.
So I think he would have been guaranteed the
Hmm.
first game, which is Chelsea, and then I think he probably would have played Ipswich. It was his position to lose, even to most Man City fans. They said that.
And from what I read, a lot of their players have come back late, and I think extended late. So like
Yes,
Foden and stuff
Foden
like
and
that.
Walker are, yeah, they haven't played. They didn't play in the Community Shield either.
Yeah,
That's why people think that by game week 3, those
yeah.
players will be fully implemented, which is fine because if you were going for a gamble pick like Oscar Bob, you would want them for Ipswich, and then you don't mind after that because you might have 2 or 3 transfers saved by then.
Mm.
So there's a part of me that could maybe go for Doku because he
Mm-hmm.
seems like he's the only one who's definitely fit now. I
Yeah.
just I need to figure out where I'm going to slot him, and if I do that, I probably need to make money for Haaland as well because Haaland's going to be the one that's going to hurt me. But just if I do that, maybe I can't keep Salah.
Mm.
I don't know.
It interestingly, we'll see my team in a minute, but I think we've only got 3 of the same players.
But this is the problem, you see, because FPL's pricing's really good, so it's not really a problem. That's a good thing. It makes it more
Yeah.
exciting, and means you can differentiate without feeling like you're being punished.
Yeah.
So, like players like Palmer and that, do I want them? Probably, but Palmer I think is 10.5 million. I think that's more expensive than Saka,
Mm-hmm.
so I can't find room for him. I mean, I'd like Son. But Son's 10 million, and can I find room for him? Maybe, but do I want to bring Son in at the expense of Mbumo? I don't think so.
Hmm.
You know, and then the bench I've got's not. Coley should start maybe for Leicester. Adogi should start as well, but Jefferson is already been linked with a move out. So that's me doing as I usually do in picking a 4.5 striker that doesn't even start the season because he's already on loan.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I've got some balancing issues.
And
I
then
need to
probably
decide.
keeping that striker for weeks on end and not replacing him.
But that would be the other issue
Yeah.
because obviously, unless I'm doing like some people are doing and going super aggressive and then wildcarding in game week 4 because they think by game week 4 all of those late returners like Foden etc. will be back.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
actually, on that and coming across to the big changes to FPL, the 5 free transfers if you save them up.
yes,
I
and
was thinking
you
about
keep your
this.
transfers, but even from wildcards.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about it. I think that's probably gonna negate the wild card a little bit in the sense that I think doing an early wild card now could be a sensible option because 2 3 game weeks you get a feel for how the season's going, what players are in form, what players are not. You can hit the wild card, but then you've always got that ability to save up 5 free transfers That's essentially
That's
a wild card. So
that's why people are wildcarding early. So if you
yeah.
didn't make any transfers for the first 4 weeks or 3 weeks, and you wildcard in game week 4, by game week 5 you've got 5 free transfers or 4. You can make
Yeah.
2 changes still to keep tweaking, and then you just leave it.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. The difference is, I guess, if I was going to attack these early game weeks harder, I've got 3 Liverpool in this team currently, but I'd need more Man City.
Hmm.
And
Although
then
Man City always starts slow, usually.
they do, but they got Ipswich at home game week 2.
Yeah.
I don't want to skip that. I know Ipswich are the ones that I think I'm got the best shot at surviving because of their manager and some of the players they've bought, but it's still Man City away, and they're going to start the season Ipswich playing against Liverpool, so they could get absolutely hammered by Liverpool, go to Man City and get hammered again. I think Leeds did it when they came up under Bielsa, right? They played Liverpool first game of the season. I think that
Yeah.
was like 4-3. And then the
Hmm.
next game was like 7, 8, 9 goals. And then the next game as well. I don't expect that to be like that for Ipswich, but when it comes to opening 2 fixtures, they can't get much more teeth clenching than that, to be honest. Unless they had Arsenal in game week 3, then it'd be even worse. But so yeah, there's some work to be done. Um, I didn't keep tweaking my team and making drafts because I knew I'd make myself go insane. Because the amount of times people were changing their teams, going, "Oh, this is draft number 15," and then someone would go off early injured, or they'd be transferred, or whatnot else, and it was just like it's just not worth it. And I've got a rough
Well,
idea in my head what I want, how I want it.
well,
You know,
I've created my team, hit the random barn, and then literally yesterday was the first time I sat down, looked at it, and picked my team. And
there
I
you
I
go.
didn't even go around the houses with that. I just kind of went, oh yeah, that's all right. I do need to make some tweaks now because I do have Oscar Bob in my team. So now he's injured, I'm gonna have
Yeah,
to do some change. But yeah,
I
I,
mean,
I
it was,
don't
it
know
was
if I'm gonna change that much. I think because you never know. First game week, it's always difficult. So
it's always difficult. Plus, obviously, there's a lot of players that I might like or I might pick, but they haven't come back yet, or they've only had like a one
yeah.
half. So you're sitting there going, can I put these in game week 1, or should I put these in game week 2 or game week 3 kind of thing? I mean, Chelsea have looked an absolute shambles, but still lots of people are picking their players.
Hmm.
And Chelsea, I think their fixtures get all right from game week 3. So I can see why people
Chelsea's.
are preemptive.
Well, yeah,
Man
Chelsea's
City at
fixtures
home.
look alright. Man City, but then Wolves, Palace, and Bournemouth are the next three. So that on paper that looks good, but who knows at this point in time?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what Chelsea's going to turn up? New manager, kind of same kind of mess and chaos going on. So are they going to be good this year or yeah,
And Liverpool, did you say? Or
Chelsea?
Chelsea, I think someone said, I think I see in the news they got 42 first team players.
Hmm.
Yeah, they've only got 24, 25 slots for players, so that's going to be an absolute riot. Conor Gallagher's transfer didn't go through, so
Go
that they
through, yeah.
called him back yesterday. He's now training again on his own because that's what you do to youth team products. Apparently, you make them train on their own.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and I don't know. I don't know with Chelsea. It's genuinely, it feels like the opening weeks, if they do get results, it's because they're being held together with individual brilliance as opposed to a team that's working very well together.
Hmm.
That might seem a little unfair, but I've seen some of their preseason games and they looked all over the show, to be honest. Um, Maresca's got no Premier League experience. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, but he's also come into a team where instead of doing what Pochettino wanted and trimming the squad to his sort of size that you would be comfortable working with, they've just kept adding and adding and adding. And it's not even done yet. They could be, to make the Conor Gallagher transfer go through, João Pedro may come in again, but permanently instead of like on loan like 2 years ago. And they still might get Osman from Napoli, who's a quality striker. That would be like 100 million job if they bring him in, which God knows where they're getting the money from. And
And what happened to financial fair play? Those don't apply to Chelsea.
well, I'm sure if they do that, they're going to have a fire sale right near deadline day and in January to try and get, and they will obviously in late June to get to that thingy by next year. The problem is if other clubs wanted to be sneaky and a bit bastardy, they could just refuse to buy the players or offer them low ball offers to get someone on the cheap and as a bargain.
Yeah.
I don't know whether Chelsea would go for it. At this point, it doesn't feel like Chelsea even care. Like the owners, if they do get done for financial fair play, it just feels like they'll just take the fine, take the points deduction, and go, "We're still going to keep doing what we want," and then push for a Super League so they can break away. That's the thing that worries me about American owners, because they're the ones that are the most keen for a Super League. So
Yeah.
but that aside, yeah, I don't have much. I mean, Palmer would be great. He signed a new deal today. Oh, not today, a couple of days ago. That means he's got a 10-year contract at Chelsea now. So essentially, if he sees that out, a whole career at Chelsea, pretty much. They said they're going to reward Nicola Jackson with a new contract. That seems a bit rough on him, though. Give him a new contract and then sign Osman, relegating Jackson to number 2 for the next 9 years or however long they give him as a contract. But yeah, I will avoid them for now because it's game week 1 and they're playing Man City. But if they look really good,
yeah,
I could be tempted.
they feel like a wait and see kind of team. Tempted by just based on pre-season Madueke or Nkunku, but
I'd be surprised if Madueke's there by the end of this or the window.
And with them having Man City first, I don't think you need a Chelsea player for game week 1.
No, it feels like that would be a 0-0.
Could eat my words there, and maybe they turn
possibly.
up. I mean,
the one that would be the one that you would want is Palmer, because he's against his old club and it's 2 fingers up to Guardiola for selling him, kind of thing.
True. Yeah.
But I don't know if he's going to start. I imagine he will, but then does he get longer than say an hour because of injury? Not injury, because of fitness. Sorry, so fatigue because he's not had a pre-season.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of unanswered questions, more so this year because of the Euros than before. So it's just I've just sort of semi-picked players that I think their fixtures all right. It's hard to tell what fixtures are all right, obviously, because you just don't know. You don't know which teams are going to start well. You don't know which teams are going to start badly. You know, all of the newly promoted teams might come out of the blocks on fire.
Game week 1's so difficult. You just don't know.
It's difficult, but it's exciting as well because it means you can go with what you feel. I mean, a lot of people are making up these charts. I mean, an FPL does it as well, and they go, "Oh yeah, this is going to be a difficult fixture." And you're like, "Is it going to be a difficult fixture though?"
How are you working that out?
Yeah, you're basing that on last year's sort of results and information. And for example, if you're basing it on Brighton and going, "Oh, well, Brighton's defense is bad," well, it's a new manager. If you're basing it on Chelsea, it's a new manager. So, and it's Liverpool, it's a new manager. So maybe Liverpool won't be as good in attack. You just don't necessarily know. You can look at pre-season and go, that player's been on fire. I want him, like Bowen was a couple of years back. But even that's still
sometimes you have to
not
dig
the best
into
barometer.
pre-season and see, okay, this person got like a hat trick or something. But then you look and go, oh well, they got a hat trick like in their first pre-season game that was against like some
League Two.
unknown League Two club or something.
It
And
was
you're
it was
like,
a
oh
warm up.
okay, yeah.
It was a warm up game that there was nothing in it. That's
Like
all it
there was
is.
a few players when I was looking at the stats and they're like, oh, this player. And then when I looked here, I was like, but they scored all their goals in like the early games when none of the first teamers were in. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, you have to take that with a
And
pinch of salt.
it's navigating around things and trusting your own sort of judgment, I guess. And
Mm-hmm.
if you've got any knowledge about managers in the league and if there's been any sort of behind the scenes turmoil, Chelsea, there's not behind the scenes turmoil in the sense of like a manager having a falling out with people, but it's clearly this many players influxing again and
Mm-hmm.
trying to make them fit with all the current players. It's just not feasible, right?
No.
So
And the fact they got rid of Pochettino, that was a mistake, I think. But we'll see.
I don't.
I
It
think it
seems
was a
weird.
mistake.
He's just starting to get a tune out of them.
Yep.
He trimmed the squad down like he wanted, but he still said it need to be trimmed further and bring in one or two quality additions. And then they were just like, "Yeah, that doesn't really fit in with of our with our structure. We're
Yep.
going to go and buy." I think they were up to 12 new players. Like I said, if they get João Felix and I said João Pedro earlier, but if they get João Felix and Osserman, that's 14 players. That's a
Mm.
whole FPL team nearly.
Yep.
You know, so then I guess Chelsea players come problematic for rotation as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I need to get a Man City player in, at least one.
Mm-hmm.
I could be
Maybe.
tempted even by Vardiol, to be honest, because I could Vardiol to Trippier to Vardiol is one move, and there's no money difference, no loss or anything, so that could be fine.
Mm.
But I'll see if I can work in Haaland potentially and changing like 3, 4 players because I'm not so fussed about my bench per se, as long as 2 of them are playing. I mean, a Coley is not exactly um, inspiring as a player if he comes off your bench, but if you're getting to bench 2 after game week 1, you've probably fucked up already, so you need to wild card
Yeah.
fairly quickly.
The likelihood is you're not using your bench in game week one, but well,
Not unless you're
not
bench
necessarily,
boosting.
but yeah.
If you're
So
bench boosting game week 1, you're definitely using your bench. But
yeah.
if not, then it's going to be an unforeseen last minute injury that no one knows about, and after the deadline, because the deadline's Friday evening.
Yeah. Well,
So
talking of chips, then we've got the new mystery chip this year. Um, don't know what that's going to be, but we'll wait and see. I think it's coming in January.
yeah, they're building up the suspense around it, and it'll probably be
Yeah,
something really shite, like another.
probably.
They'll be like, oh yeah, you can have another bench boost or something else, and you're like, ah, that's
Yeah,
thoughtless.
yeah. But then the other
I
thing is apparently there's going to be fewer and smaller double and blank game weeks this year.
Yeah, the because of the way the season falls, and I think this is the first
It's,
season where they've taken out replays in certain rounds of the FA Cup.
yeah, it's something to do with the FA Cup ties. So
Yeah,
yeah,
no more
could be the
replays than
replays.
that.
So yeah, which obviously usually our chip strategy is always around doubles and stuff like that. So it might completely change the chip strategy this year. And just,
You're seeing a lot more people saying they're going to bench boost game week 1,
yeah, kind of
and
makes
it's
sense,
done.
doesn't it? Yeah,
You spread your funds around. You probably don't have Haaland and Salah. You have one of them, or maybe
mm.
neither, and then you hit game week 1 with everything you've got because it's quite a lot of goals usually in game week
Well,
1.
I tell you what, at the moment I quite like the look of my bench, so I might be
There you
tempted
go,
to bench boost. Mm.
bench boost, and then if it's gone, if you need to make dramatic changes, you wild card out in game week 2.
Yeah,
Job done. Um, and then you just manage from then on, really.
yeah,
Plus, it gets away. that idea of bench boosting, so you don't have to hold
Yeah.
bench players or build towards bench players, etc., which will be easier this year because you can roll transfers
Yeah. Oh,
significantly
yeah.
more. But it's still one of those things where people overthink it, or they just can't. They never get it right. They should have just bench boosted in a single game week when they got like 40 points there,
Yep.
and then in a double they get like 12.
Yep.
So yeah, if I'd like the all-out attack chip to come back. To be honest, it'd be nice.
Yeah, I like that one.
And end of the season,
That would be good.
game week 36, 35, 36, all out attack, 5 midfielders, 3 strikers, lovely stuff.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see what it is, but yeah. And what about the point scoring? Apparently they've changed that. I don't know how that's really going to affect it, but
They've changed the
um,
BPS, right?
yeah. So they've got goalies and defenders conceding a goal will be
-4.
-4. A goal line clearance will be 3 bonus points. Foul 1 will be 1, and a shot on target will be worth 2 bonus points.
No, this is BPS. So
But yeah,
it's when you're
BPS,
looking
yeah,
at, yeah.
bonus point
So you're not going
system,
to
right?
get, yeah. So what it means is that defenders that score goals now, if they concede, they're going to be a lot less likely to be in the top 3 for bonus points now.
Oh, that's good.
Sometimes when a team lost like 2-1, but the guy, the solitary goal they got was, I don't know, some centre back who got a header.
Yeah.
They're going to be less likely now to get 2 bonus points or 3 bonus points because of the BPS.
Mm.
It does also mean that a lot of players that have fouled regularly, Jack Grealish, for example, could be
Mhm.
quite good for bonus points, even if he doesn't get assists, because he gets fouled on average, I think, about 7 to 10 times a game.
Oh, yeah,
So
that's a
that would
good
be
point.
good in
Yeah.
the BPS. And then shots on target is worth a lot. So it's worth more. So you could see more midfielders potentially getting into the bonus points. You could see more defenders if they get to clean sheets. So say Saliba or Gabriel, for example, who go up for corners and they get shots on target. That would make their BPS stronger in terms of getting bonus points. So there are options there, and there's some positives and negatives. It didn't go far enough. They really should have given points to players making tackles, like defensive midfielders, to make them more of a viable option in the game. But for now,
Yeah.
we'll see what this does.
Maybe
And
passing as well. Something to do with passing would be good.
well, passing is already in the BPS,
Ah,
but
okay, yeah.
what I mean is that there should be something for defensive midfielders if they make
Yeah.
10 tackles or 5 tackles, interceptions, whatever, they get 1 point, kind of like what
Mm.
goalkeepers get for saves. It's
Yeah.
not a dramatic change, but it would be enough so you could put in a rugged defensive midfielder into your midfield slots and move
Hmm.
some money around.
Yeah.
I guess the reason they didn't do that this year is because if we found a 4.5 million defensive midfielder that does that, all
Hmm.
of us would have Palmer, Saka,
Yeah.
Salah,
Yeah.
and Haaland most likely. So
But if they did bring that in, then those players, their prices would go up because obviously
yeah, everyone's
they'd be getting more
trying to
points.
look for
So
everyone's intimating the potential game breakers. So they're
mm,
low priced. They've been undervalued by either FPL, or they've been undervalued because they've moved to a bigger club, or they've moved to a smaller club, but their value was already low and they're going to get more minutes. So Wan-Bissaka, for
yeah.
example, could become a massive option.
Smith Rowe, who you
If
got in your team, could be good for that.
Smith Rowe should be a good option. Solanke, there's the belief he'll be an even better option now because he'll get more chances from better attacking players. Don't
Hmm.
know how much of that's necessarily true, but it
Mm.
could be in Solanke's case.
Hmm.
Wan-Bissaka's case, I expect it because he won't be a rotation risk. If he claims that spot from Soufal, he'll be the Premier League starter, and then the chance of
Yeah.
then getting clean sheets against teams that are in the bottom half are stronger when they're at home, kind of thing. They might struggle though because there's currently turmoil at West Ham with fans not turning up for their final game of the season over protests around ticket prices and season ticket prices. And when I say they didn't turn up, I think it was like less than 10th full for their final preseason game, which I think they had like less than 10,000 people there. Considering the Olympic Stadium holds, I think it's close to 60, right? That's significant protest. So I don't know what will happen there. Will it affect the play on the field? Possibly, if you're playing a home fixture, you haven't got the crowd behind you because they're not turning up. So that might be something keeping an eye on as well. But yeah, I'm happy enough. I need to make probably 5-6 changes. I'm not against having both Salah and Haaland, but I seem to be more flexible if I only have one of the two.
Yeah,
And I don't really want to buy
that's
into
going to
that.
be that is a huge amount of your budget. Like I said, I didn't even attempt it.
Yeah, and I don't want to buy into that whole thing over the summer that people are going to go, oh, well, Salah's 32 now and he's declining. You're like, is he declining? Or is it just because he was being played to fit the newer players that came in last year for Liverpool by Klopp?
Yeah.
You know, you can look at it from two sides of the coin.
He smashed this first half of last season. He absolutely smashed it. It was only when he got injured and went away for AFCON. He came back and he wasn't quite as good. But
well, again, he was the points in last season. He was getting asked to do a role that he's either not necessarily familiar with, or it's just to accommodate other players. And obviously, he would have got a lot more points if players like Diaz and Darwin had buried clear-cut chances that he'd set up for them.
Yep.
So I think a lot of people don't take that into account. And if Jota starts up front with Salah on the right, and I assume Diaz on the left, that would be, I guess, the preferred front three that I'd want. That would have me more confidence that Salah would get a lot more returns from assists if Jota's up there.
Yeah.
Obviously, Jota is another one of those players who just picks up a niggle and then he comes back and then he gets another niggle and then the poor lad just cannot get back.
Well, that
without missing like 8 weeks.
That might lead us nicely into my team then.
Let's lead away.
Because I do have Jota. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and you've gone for a different formation.
Yep. So my team, I'll run through it. I've got Edison in goal, Saliba, Trent, and Porro at the back. Bob, Murphy, Son, and Jota in midfield, and then up front I've got Jesus, Haaland, captain, and Chris Wood. And on my bench I've got Areola, Smith Rowe, Livramento, and Mitchell. So yeah, I've got Jota in. So that's my not having Salah. For okay, Jota's had a good preseason. He's got 1 goal, 3 assists, which is not fantastic. It's not setting the world on fire, but it's pretty decent. Obviously, I had Bob in there. He's had a good preseason, but now he's injured, so I do need to change Bob. Forget how much he is, so I don't think I'm going to get much money from changing him.
Oscar Bob's 5.5, I think.
Okay, that's not bad. I think I've got 0.5 in the bank as well, so I can get to a 6 mil midfielder from that.
You can go and get Rodgers from Villa if you needed to save cash.
Yeah, true. He's not a bad one. Is he one of those that's had a good preseason, but he's not actually going to start? That's my worry.
I don't know. He has started and been very, very good. I would be shocked if he didn't start because obviously they've sold Diaby now, and some of those midfielders were late coming back. Plus, they've sold Douglas Luiz as well. So he is slightly being referred to as one that could be a game breaker.
Yeah, he's an option. He's on my little table on the right side, so I picked out some of the players that had good pre-seasons. So I looked at. So I've got Jesus and Havertz, Rogers. I've got
Told you
Embremo.
Murphy had a good preseason, didn't you?
Yeah. Chelsea had Nkunku and Madueke. Palace, I've got a few. Schlupp, 3 goals, 2 assists. Edward. They've got a 5.5 midfielder in Kamada as well.
Daichi Kamada.
Yeah.
He was from Frankfurt. Well, he played at Frankfurt with Glasner, and then he left Frankfurt last season to go to Lazio, and
Mhm.
he didn't have a great time in Lazio, but he's still quality.
Yeah. 2 goals,
And
2 assists pre-season.
yeah, and he is non-stop. He's a guy that probably under Glasner will rarely get substituted.
Okay. Yeah, it's good.
And obviously, bearing in mind with Palace as well, they've lost Elise.
Yeah.
Mateta is probably going to miss. Probably the first 2, maybe even the first 3 game weeks,
Mhm.
and then Eze has only just come back as well.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to be said about Kamada, and I am a very, very big fanboy of his when he was at Frankfurt.
Mm.
Uh,
Oh, there you go. So
if
yeah,
I
he's an
could have
option.
fitted him in, yes, he's definitely an option. He's playing in a front 3 as well, which makes him an even better option.
Yeah.
So
Or I've got Justin from Leicester in there. You'll be pleased to see.
I love James Justin.
Only
Basically,
two
most of
two
your list is
assists,
who's
but
who I love.
yeah, no, 2 assists, but obviously he's a defender. So I
And he's
thought that's not
4.5.
bad. Yeah. That's the
Plays
reason
on
I
the
got
left at the moment.
one of the reasons I got Mitchell in there because he got I think just one assist, 1 goal pre-season. So
Not bad. But,
yeah.
I mean, Mitchell plays um, a more attacking style now since Glasner come in, which is great. He should, if he continues the preseason form and the form of last season, he should be in the England squad for the next set of fixtures come game week 3 because Luke Shaw's now out again, and England
Typical.
definitely need a left back. And I think Rico Henry. I haven't kept up with Rico Henry, but I'm hopeful he's back and he's had a decent preseason as well.
Think I see him as flagged, but not sure.
So he might not be fit. Like as in
Yeah.
he's still lacking match fitness. He spent like 10 months out, the poor lad. So
Yeah. I mean, the standout player for pre-season is Jacob Murphy, so
he's the
I'm
one I told you about the other day in passing, wasn't it? You said
yeah.
when we were doing draft, you said who should I get? And I said Jacob Murphy's had quite a good one. And I said I think he's got at least 3-4 goals.
Was it 5 goals, 2 assists, 3 assists even?
There you go.
That's not bad. It's the best player up there in
Exactly.
terms of
And his
pre-season.
price is ridiculous, right? I think he's like 4.55.
Yep, pretty cheap. So
So he could be a game breaker for if he started the first 3.
mhm.
I think Newcastle have got Southampton, Bournemouth, and then some. I think they've got Tottenham until game week 4.
Yeah, so I mean, my other way of picking teams was trying to look at the fixtures. I know we said you can't really tell with the fixtures, but I kind of looked at Arsenal, Liverpool, Newcastle, Tottenham. I think that was probably and Man City were my 5 kind of teams that I kind of thought, yeah.
Not even Aston Villa got Champions League last year, Russ. Jesus.
Yeah, but they've got a tough start. West Ham, then Arsenal. And yeah, I'm waiting to
That's
see with
true.
them. Like you said, they've lost a few players. They've lost their engine. So
I mean, they've lost 2 players that have sold. Diaby maybe not as a significant loss as Douglas Luiz.
hmm.
And then the other thing you've got with them is they've got some players returning back late. You've got some players that are not fully fit. And there's still speculation around their team in terms of new signings. So you could put a player in like Rodgers, but then if Villa do go and sign Giovanni Lo Celso from Tottenham, he might steal that spot from Rodgers fairly quickly. I'm not saying he deserves to. I'm just saying that's sometimes how it works with new signings. They come in, there's a lot of fever around them, and then all of a sudden, the guy that you were like, yeah, he's a game breaker, I've got him, fantastic, and then you're like, oh shit, I'm making a transfer in game week 2 because I've only got like 11 players, 10 tops.
Yeah. Oh, that's another
So
team. Just looking at the fixtures, Forest. That's why I've gone Chris Wood. He's got
Chris Wood had a really good pre-season, and Awoniyi's not. Awoniyi's basically just been coming off the bench and making a slow return to fitness because he had 2 major injuries last year. Plus, obviously, under Nuno, he prefers a striker of that type because that's how Raul Jimenez sort of excelled at Wolves. And Nottingham Forest certainly have an abundance of quality wingers in Alanga, Hudson-Odoi, and there's another one that I'm forgetting. But yeah, that is a big old spider.
And Ederson's a funny one. Picking my goalkeepers. When I was reading the stats for pre-season, I see a quote apparently that Guardiola made that he said Ederson, so and so are my best penalty takers. And that
you did.
It just made me go, oh, I might put Ederson in. Maybe I'll take a penalty.
Ederson took the 5th penalty in the Community Shield.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah, he took the 5th penalty that Man City had to score to stay in it.
He has taken a penalty in a shootout before as well.
Yes, he has. Normally when it rolls round though, not when it's at the point where they go, okay,
no,
one of the opening 5.
I'm pretty sure he's taken one in the opening 5 before.
Well, there you go then.
Yeah.
Well, it looked like at first he was leaving.
Yeah.
The Saudi Arabia put a bid in, and he was all but out the door. And then something happened that made it fall through. And Guardiola's still not been happy with Ederson's attitude. Like he was really casual with his passing in the Community Shield, and it was weird to watch. It's like a guy who just couldn't give a shit. And apparently, it stems from a lot of it stems from last season when Man City beat Tottenham and Ederson had to come off, and everyone was praising Ortega for having a great game and how that was the championship winning game when he was like, well, I played 36 of them and won it for them. Why am I not getting the same praise? And it's a little bit just of jealousy that he's not getting the same kind of love, I guess. It's kind of like what's his name? Toure. When Toure did get his birthday celebrated, and that seemed to be like a massive blow up. So, yeah, Ederson won't be bad. They've been good in defence as well. So, and if he's still there by the time the window shuts, he is going to be number 1 right round until they've won the league.
Yeah. I never normally go premium with goalies, but like I said, I just
forgetting it.
haven't quite got my focus into this year. I mean, the Olympics just finished. I've been watching that. Not really kept up with pre-season or transfers or anything. And it was like, I've got
busy watching the break dancing it. Yeah.
I've got to pick my FPL team now. It's bloody hell. That's why I said no drafts really. I've just gone in, picked it, and I'm fairly happy with it. And I feel like game week 1, let's roll the dice. So let's chuck a few weird ones in there, like Murphy and stuff. Maybe I'll go and get Kamada or something to replace Bob. There's a few players in there that I've maybe wanted and missed out on, like Isak. I'm taking a risk not going for Salah, but
it will fuck me off if you get Kamada He does
Please.
well, and I
Mm.
don't have Kamada because
Yeah.
I've decided I'll get him in a couple of weeks because I really do like Dachi Kamada, and obviously he's been downplayed a lot because of his time at Lazio
Yeah.
compared to his time at Frankfurt, and yeah, if you get the chance to watch him, which you will do, you won't get to see much of him on Match of the Day. But if you got to saw an actual Palace game with him playing, oh,
Mhm.
he's good, and he's going to be even better once Mateta's in that front line.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the only other guaranteed striker for the first 2 weeks at least is Odson Edouard, because obviously
Mm. Yeah.
Mateta's just finished the Olympics and France went to extra time on at least 2 occasions. That man has got to be absolutely shattered.
And Edward will want to make a good impression because if Matea's coming back, he's going to go straight in. So,
Yes, so if he made a good impression in the first 2 games, it means someone would come in near the deadline day as well and snap him up.
yeah.
It's always handy to have a couple of games before the deadline, so put yourself in the window kind of thing.
Hmm.
And he could easily end up then from then on at, I wouldn't say Ipswich, but one of the newly promoted teams possibly, or an
Mm.
Everton.
Mm.
Everton have done some good business as well.
Okay.
Don't be fooled by their transfers. They brought Jack Harrison in again, who I was lauding over last year. He didn't get a lot of points, but he was great for Everton in terms of making them tick over. And
Yeah.
Everton also brought in Iliman Ndiaye, who was the star player at Sheffield United, who they sold last summer, who I was very angry about, saying, why would you sell your best players before
Hmm.
you start in the Premier League? So Ndiaye has come back from Marseille permanently and he's at Everton.
Mm.
And I would not be shocked if he is an absolute belter of a player to keep an eye on. He's 5'5". He's listed as a forward in this. Dominic Calvert-Lewin's made of obviously cheese string.
Yeah.
And yeah, Njai could be a great. I think even if Calvert-Lewin's fit, Njai probably will play still regardless as an attacker because he usually plays behind the striker.
Mm.
And yeah, I like Njai, but he's unknown in the Premier League like a
Yeah.
lot of these guys.
I don't necessarily like going for new players or unknowns. So,
If they had a full preseason and the
yeah.
preseason's been good,
Yeah.
then
Everton's
it
stats for pre-season weren't nothing really sung out. So I was like,
no, but they're managed by Sean Dyche, right? So the
yeah.
more likely is you'll go for a defender. And the problem with that is their defenders have all been bumped up in price.
Yeah.
So you're just like, no, you're all right.
I think Brainthwaite's injured at the moment as well.
Jared Brathwaite, I'm not sure. Maybe
He's
I haven't
flagged.
really,
But,
I haven't kept up with Everton news. I just know
mm,
Njai's there, who I quite like. Harrison is back, who I obviously like. Not as a pick, but he's strong. And then they did sign, I think it's Jake O'Brien from Lyon. Um, I do like Jake O'Brien. Jake O'Brien probably will start then if Branthwaite's out. It'd be O'Brien and Tarkowski, I imagine, at centre back.
mm.
So no room for Michael Keane or Mason Holgate, who amazingly is still
Oh,
at
bloody
Everton.
hell. That's unfortunate for them, isn't
Yeah, his loan spell didn't get made permanently.
it?
Oh, and the other one is
Shocking.
yeah, the other one is Jesper Lindstrom. Napoli, I think he came in from
Mm-hmm.
to Everton. He could be a good player too.
Mm.
So there are lots of names that are good, or that are good on paper. Whether they're good in the teams they've joined, where it takes them a while to get going, whether they have a, a period in the season, just not at the start, where they're exceptional kind of thing. There's
Well,
the one that
maybe we should have a look if we picked any of these in our FPL4 choices for game week 1.
oh, I can guarantee you I haven't.
No, I have not either. So players to watch for game week 1. FPL4 choices. I have gone for Raya, Porro, Salah, and Haaland. So I've gone for some big hitters.
They go beyond big hitting at that point.
I've gone big. Game week 1, I've gone big. You've gone for Pickford, Lewis Hall, Salah as well, and Solanke. That's all fairly established. I guess the only weird, well, not weird, but outside punty kind of one is Lewis Hall for you.
Well, Jordan Pickford as well. I could have gone for a number of. I've got no Man City players in my team.
No, true. Yeah, you could have gone Haaland in this.
I've got no Man City. I've got no Arsenal.
No.
Arsenal got a favourable home fixture. I just figured Pickford against Brighton. Brighton is slightly in transition. They are good though. I think Everton might seize that home advantage. The one that everyone will be watching for Brighton is Yankuba Minte, who Brighton bought from Newcastle.
He's had a good pre-season as well. He's one of the.
He's had a very good pre-season. He was bought for about 30 odd million. He had a great season last year in the Dutch league, I think, with Feyenoord. If they keep him quiet, then they should keep a clean sheet.
He's definitely he's a player to watch though. Brighton's another one of those teams I'm kind of wait and see.
Well, they just bought. They agreed a new. They agreed to sign a guy from Mainz yesterday. So that should strengthen Brighton up as well. I don't think their transfers are done yet either. So they could potentially be quite a force to reckon with. It'd be interesting to see whether they're rotation proof, because under De Zerbi, everyone was a bit rotation worrisome, even when they didn't have European fixtures. I don't think Estepinian will be an option in the short term, possibly in the long term.
At the moment.
But I don't think even if he comes back, because Barco's had a really good pre-season, and allegedly they're signing another player who can play left back. So
who's their manager now as well? I don't even know
that. Hertzler.
Right.
I think that's how you pronounce his name. He is from Sao Paulo. He's one of the youngest, if not the youngest, manager the league's ever had. He's 31, 32.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, he got Sao Paulo promoted to the Bundesliga, and then Brighton, I guess, feel that normally when they get a new manager, it's normally a manager that fits the current mold that they've got. Yeah. So De Zerbi was similar to whatever his name is. There you go, Potter. And then after De Zerbi, it is now Hertzler. I think Hertzler's slightly better in kind of defensive play, whereas De Zerbi felt more like he was just all out attack. Which is fine because De Zerbi's now managing Marseille, and Marseille have a rapist and a paedophile as their attackers. So good luck to him. And Emil Pierre-Emil Højbjerg's there as well, which is a shame because I like Højbjerg, but it is what it is. He wanted to go and play Champions League football, so good luck to him. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Brighton as well, because they lost Gross, and Gross is their Swiss Army knife that they just was like, oh shit, we haven't got a right back, stick Gross there. Oh, we ain't got a left winger, stick Gross there. So talismanic, underrated, possibly one of the most underrated players in the Premier League in the last decade.
Yeah, he was always a steady player. He's one of those players. Steady. You could have put him from the start of the season, left him in, and he would have got you a bag of points. But no one ever does.
In FPL and in football in terms as well. He would get goals, he'd get assists, he could link up play. He was great on the ball, great set pieces, just an all round great player.
Yeah.
I mean, and the fact that he's Germany, international career has come so late to him at 32 is a bit unfortunate.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to seize it with both hands, and I wouldn't be surprised if he got a couple of dozen caps at least.
Yeah.
So, and he's at Dortmund now, if you didn't know.
I did not. No. So there you go.
There you go. There you go. I'll give you all the little updates that you don't, have any idea about.
That's what I need. Yep.
Yeah.
My head will get back into it once it kicks off Friday, and yeah. But
I think I my dog in.
but yeah, right. Well, I think on that note, and we've just hit an hour, so we should probably wrap it up there.
That's not bad, yeah.
There you go. See, time management. That's what it's all about.
Good.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks to everyone for listening. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Average FPLers. And our mini league is open, and you can join it using the code SJBCYQ. So yeah, we'll be back next week to see how our Game Week 1 teams got on, whether we're all having meltdowns and using wildcards, or we're happy. So we'll see. But yeah, until then, take care. See you soon. Bye bye.
Ta-ra.